All right, let's do this. You guys know I typically don't do live streams late at night, but I had to chime in on this one because I was looking forward to watching some NFL tomorrow. Now, I know a lot of people don't actually watch the NFL right now, boycotting it for whatever reason. But the reason why I want to talk about it is because none of this makes any sense. This is completely insane. They just keep on going down this road of insanity with COVID. I mean, they keep talking about safe and effective, safe and effective. It's all safe and effective. Well, how effective is it if you still have people catching this virus and it's breaking out in fully vaccinated groups of people? It doesn't make any sense to me. As the president keeps on saying, this is going to be a dark winter for the unvaccinated. We'll get into all of that, but I want to first give a shout out to the chat. Let some of the people get in here. Please give it a thumbs up on your way in. That's the best way to overcome the algorithmic demotion of my content. Please do that. Thank you very much. And God bless you all for tuning in. Shout out to the moderators. I see Joker in there. I see Sean M. Appreciate you for being here. Joe, Texas. I see a bunch of people in here. God bless you. Please give it thumbs up. We're going to talk about this, okay? Because, I was going to watch some games tomorrow. And, yeah, I got this article right here. And we'll look at it because, you can just figure this out for yourselves, guys. They're winging it. They're just making it up as they go along. So here we go. From Sports Illustrated. 3 NFL games postponed due to COVID outbreaks. Do you remember once upon a time when they were saying breakthrough cases? They don't talk about breakthrough cases anymore because everybody's freaking still catching this thing, even though they're fully vaccinated. The NFL, remember how they came down on Aaron Rodgers? Oh, Aaron Rodgers, he put his team at risk because he got COVID. And it's like, what are they doing here? Right? What are they doing here? Suspending Antonio Brown because he had a fake vaccine card. What difference does it make if you're canceling games now due to this variant? This variant is so dangerous, so potent that you have to cancel all these games. And what I've been reading is that it's due to an increase in protocols, which means you're testing everybody like psychopaths. Test this, test that every day. You got to take a test every day. Well, if you test more people, you test them all the time, you're going to get more cases. And I think it's very important to point out that you have to get a test to see if you even freaking have this thing. Really? You have to be tested to see if you're sick. Your body no longer tells you you're sick. This is the upside down clown world we now reside in. All of us now. Your body no longer tells you you're sick. A freaking test tells you, hey, you have this deadly disease. The disease is so crazy that you could either have 0 symptoms at all, or you could just kill over in a hospital. Like, this is psychotic. So anyway, here's the article from Sports Illustrated. Cleveland, they're supposed to play tomorrow, the Oakland Raiders. They have experienced the worst outbreak we've ever seen in NFL season. With today's loss of Jadeveon Clowney, more than 20 players are out due to COVID-19 protocols. 20 players on a 53-man roster. Damn near half the team has tested positive for COVID. Now, how many of those players even knew that they had it? How many knew that they had it, and how many had just like a mild cough? We're talking grown men, healthy men that participate in what amounts to car wrecks every week when they collide with other grown men that weigh 300 plus pounds. And because they have the sniffles and you're testing them like psychopaths, they can't play now. I don't get it. Who is this to protect? What is the point of this? So they're moving this Browns Raiders game to Monday, and they're moving the Seahawks Rams game to Tuesday or something like that. And then the Redskins, wasn't supposed to say that. Doesn't matter. They're playing the Eagles. They've moved that game. How many more games are going to be canceled at this point? We have no idea. But all I know is it's not just the NFL. You've got the NHL here right now. NHL will keep Florida and Colorado from playing for a week because COVID-19 outbreak in the league. NHL cancels Saturday's Wild game because of COVID. COVID-19 surge leads to schedule changes in NFL, NBA, and NHL. So yes, it's happening in the NBA too. These are big time, fully vaccinated groups. And I know the people that worship at the shrine of Fauci and COVID and all this stuff, people that just love the vaccine is the best thing since sliced bread. They'll say, well, it's because they're vaccinated that they're not having these symptoms and these, it's the unvaccinated that are getting the virus and they're going to the hospital because they're unvaccinated. So they make that argument. But then they're also like, the vaccine is safe and effective. So if it's safe and effective and all these fully vaccinated players got it and they're not going to the hospital because they're vaccinated, why can't they play the game? What is the point? You're keeping them all out to protect them from other vaccinated players. Do you see how they just keep on going down this insanity? This is so dumb. So dumb. Either the vaccines work or they don't. And if they're so effective, why are they even catching it at all? Why did they have to mandate booster shots? What's the point of a booster shot? And then what does fully vaccinated even mean anymore? Because that's changing, obviously. So this NFL changing games, NBA is going to be doing the same thing, and the NHL canceling games. And you don't hear them talk about they don't talk anymore about breakthrough cases. They stopped saying it. Breakthrough. It's not breakthrough if it's hundreds of thousands of people. You remember how they were saying it's super rare for anyone who's fully vaccinated to even get COVID. Then it's super rare for anyone who's fully vaccinated who gets COVID to have severe symptoms. And then here are the number of people who are fully vaccinated and hospitalized. And then they're just like, actually, we're going to need a booster shot. Is what we're finding out is the vaccine, the efficacy, the effectiveness is not exactly what we thought. So they're just basically arriving at the same conclusion that a lot of people were saying from the beginning. It's kind of funny. So what are they calling conspiracy theory now that in maybe 3 weeks or 3 months, they'll be like, yeah, actually all of that was true. It's all true. Dumb. And again, who are you protecting? Who are you protecting when you're making everybody test for a disease they don't even know if they have it unless you tell them, because they have to take a test, and then you're going to hold them out? So the NFL is doing this to themselves. And because COVID is here to stay, are you going to do this the rest of the season? You're going to do this next season, the season after that? Remember, COVID is going nowhere. People are always going to catch it. Once upon a time, and I remember these good old days, take me back to these good old days when people would catch the flu and then they would just stay home. And guess what else about the flu? Here's the interesting thing about the flu. Your body tells you you have the flu. You get the chills, nauseous, all of that, all the symptoms of the flu. Your body literally tells you, hey, you're sick. You might want to do this. You might want to take a rest. You might want to drink some water, make some soup, maybe see a doctor. Now we live in a world where you might be a disease. You might actually be the disease. That's how they've convinced people who aren't sick. Hey, you might be sick, so you need to go ahead and quarantine. Even though you feel great, you're an athlete, peak tip-top condition, we have to hold you out over this never-ending virus. And the reason why I'm talking about all this is because this is how they are changing society. I don't want to live like this. Why would anybody want to live like this? This is psychotic. How are we going to continue down this path when COVID is not going anywhere? There's always going to be new variants. Are they just going to keep coming out with new vaccines? Are the new vaccines going to be mandatory? If people are still catching it despite the vaccines, are you just going to bring society to a screeching halt every time? Are you going to continue down this path? And what's the end game here? If people could just see what was happening and snap out of it, this would all end. The only way COVID actually ends is if people stop going along with it, stop complying, stop playing along, stop playing these silly games. Because right now, all they've really done successfully is pit the vaccinated against the unvaccinated. And they're so worried about the unvaccinated. But if we're the minority and the majority of people have already done what they were supposed to do, why do you care about us anyway? I see people on Twitter, they'll try to argue in the comments or whatever. They can't make their minds up. On one hand, they're like, you don't want to get the vaccine, you die. That's on you. But then on the other hand, they're like, you're killing people. Well, which one is it? You want unvaccinated people to die, or you're mad and fake concerned that you think that they're killing people, which is false. It's just hyperbole. You're just making it up. Oh, you're unvaccinated. It obviously means that you always have COVID. You're always spreading it and you're just killing people. Some people actually think that. Some people believe this in their minds. This is the psychotic levels of brainwashing. Some people will never return. You have to understand that. The world as we knew it is gone. For the rest of your time on this planet, you're going to have people who have succumbed to this fear, constant fear-based programming. They're going to live the rest of their lives hiding from germs, fearing you, supporting the ostracization of you, keeping you separated in society because you haven't complied and gotten the big pharma injection, the brought to you by Pfizer, the people telling you all the time you need to get the shot. Those messages were literally brought to you by Pfizer. The Pfizer CEO, the one who's recommending, I think what we need, since we have this Omicron variant, what I think we need is probably another Pfizer shot. Huh, you don't say. The salesman trying to sell me his product. Crazy stuff, but we'll move on. Kyrie Irving to rejoin the Nets part-time. What we know is all-star returns for games outside New York and Toronto. So Kyrie Irving is going to be rejoining his team. You guys remember him from the beginning of the season. It was a big deal. Kyrie Irving's one of the baddies, one of those people who didn't comply. He's a very bad person because he didn't get an injection. Is he sick? No, doesn't seem like it. I don't think he's got COVID at all. Unlike a lot of his obedient colleagues in the NBA who fully vaccinated, got COVID, can't play. Now, Kyrie Irving, after being lambasted for months and being called selfish and all that, now they're saying, hey, come on back. Well, what changed, Brooklyn Nets? What changed? Well, the key fact here is that with a roster in disarray due to COVID and injuries and the season not going quite as smoothly as they'd hoped, the Nets have backed off from their stance that Irving would not be allowed to participate as a part-time player. He will at some point play basketball this season. One of the primary reasons for the Nets' decision with Irving early on was to preserve continuity, but as a result of injuries and players entering health and safety protocols, they haven't found any in the first place. And because, they're trying to win a championship, they're making a business decision. They're like, hey, Kyrie, we need you to come on back and play. So how serious is this virus? How important is it that Kyrie Irving get vaccinated if you're letting him come back anyway? Make it make sense. Either we're in a very serious and dangerous time, dark winter, and we must take every measure necessary to slow the spread. Either all of that's true or it's not. You don't get to have it both ways. I'm tired of these people, these frauds and hypocrites. The contradictions are just astounding here. We have to keep Kyrie Irving away from the team because he's unvaccinated and it's dangerous. But now we're going to bring him back even though he's unvaccinated. So all of that was just theater when you told him he couldn't play. All of the coming down on Aaron Rodgers was just theater when Aaron Rodgers got COVID from somewhere when he caught it. If he's around fully vaccinated teammates, where did he get it from? The only people who you can guarantee don't have it are the unvaccinated people who have to test daily. But then you could be fully vaccinated and be spreading it. You could. If you're not getting tests every day, you notice how when they made it mandatory, a lot of companies and businesses made it mandatory for employees to get vaccinated, you had unvaccinated people who had to test every day. Like if you're not going to get vaccinated, you have to get tested every day. Okay, those are only people in your place of business that don't have this thing. But the people who you think are good because they got the injections, they could have it. But you care so much about health and safety protocols. Again, COVID's not going anywhere. I'm just waiting to figure out when we're going to go back to normal. Why are we still, on this treadmill? Why are we doing it? Tired of it. So we don't know when he's going to make his season debut, but this is kind of big news. We'll see if it's treated as such. We'll see if people boycott, people get really pissed and bent out of shape because it was a big thing. Everyone was coming down on him. And now the Brooklyn Nets brought him back. So I guess COVID must not be that serious for the Brooklyn Nets. They're trying to win a championship. And they're like, hey, Kyrie, come back in the building. Come on back in here with your unvaccinated self. Yeah, and then Biden warns unvaccinated face winter of severe illness and death. The great doomsday prophet of our time. I don't know. It's more fear-based programming. This is the only reason that he's saying this is because they're trying to get more unvaccinated people to make a fear-based decision. Well, I don't want to have a winter of severe illness and death. I guess I'll go and get this product, even though I could still have a winter of severe illness and death. See how this works? It's just fear. They're just trying to spread fear to make people bow down to a system. Like you, and I've used this example plenty of times before. If you were scared for your life, let's say you're being chased by a lion and there's a bunch of cars and you get in a car with a stranger, you would never get in a car with a stranger otherwise. But if you're being chased by a lion, you're making a fear-based decision and you're going to just do whatever to preserve your safety, right? You would get in a car with a stranger. You would probably get in a car maybe with somebody who's a serial killer. You would rather take your chances than have that lion catch you. That's what this is about. They're telling you, hey, there's a ferocious lion chasing you. Get in this car that has Pfizer written on it. Get in this car and you'll be safe. That's why he says, get ready for a dark, long winter of illness and death. Except you have to get tested to see if you even have this thing. For as long as I've been alive, my body will tell me, with the exception of some obvious things, right? Your body will 99% of the time tell you, hey, you're getting sick. You'll get the sniffles, stuffy nose, fever, get the chills. It's really obvious. This is common sense stuff like 5 minutes ago. You know, that's why I said, take me back. Let's go back. Let's go back. I'm tired of this. And here from NBC News, hospitalizations rising among fully vaccinated in the U.S., says Fauci. But I guess you could say here, you know, for the naysayers, about 71% of hospitalizations in Massachusetts are people who are not fully vaccinated. Okay, not fully vaccinated. So some of those people have taken at least one jab. So what does fully vaccinated mean anymore if you have to have several booster shots? Endless booster shots. Get ready for this. This will not end. For every variant, they're going to come out with new boosters. That's how it works. That's why they have flu shots every year. That's why I said when people gave into this mandatory vaccine thing, like this is good, we should mandate it. Just so you know, you signed up to have mandated lifelong injections. That's what that means. Because again, I sound like a broken record. COVID is not going anywhere. It's here to stay, just like the flu. You're not going to eradicate it. Viruses don't just go away because you comply with a government order. That's not how it works. It's still going to be here. So what are you going to do? You can either go back to normal and say, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I've already taken like 10 of your shots. I'm fine. If that's one of you, if you're one of those people, or you can just say, no, I'm good. I'll be fine. Or you can just comply and just be a slave and just let them control you, control your body, control your mind for the rest of your life. And we don't know what fully vaccinated even means anymore. They haven't updated it. The CDC hasn't, at least from this tab on their website, since October 15th. And fully vaccinated to them means that you've had 2 doses, a 2-dose series, such as Pfizer or Moderna. And while we're on the topic of vaccines, and I should probably tread lightly with this one here, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, they're starting to admit what people have known for a long time about the J&J shot and what it's doing to people's hearts. So now they're finally, slowly but surely, starting to acknowledge some of the side effects. Now, Johnson and Johnson has to fall on the sword because they have to protect Pfizer and Moderna at all costs, especially Pfizer. But, just don't be surprised if in maybe a year or so you start seeing those commercials. Have you been one of those? Are you one of those people who has taken this, and this? You may be entitled to a settlement. Just watch. Just watch. I'll leave it at that because I don't like to go into the weeds about the shots themselves because YouTube will obviously drop the hammer, but you guys can pick up what I'm putting down here. This is psychotic. So the NFL, and I'm going to wrap it here because I got to keep this short and sweet. The NFL is going to cancel or postpone some games for fully vaccinated NFL players that probably didn't even know they were sick. They're just testing like crazy. They may even cancel more games. This is probably going to be a thing for the rest of the season now that we're in the colder months. They deny that this is probably a seasonal thing, but whatever. So they're going to postpone some games, and as well as the NHL, the Chicago Bulls had to cancel some games. They're just going to, all of the sports leagues, which is, they've been in compliance, like probably 80 to 90% of them are in compliance, and yet they're having severe outbreaks. But yet this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And they're bugging out about Aaron Rodgers suspending other players that provided fake proof that they got the jab. And to my knowledge, some of the people who haven't been vaccinated haven't got COVID. And they would be the most at risk, you would think. So I don't know. More clown world insanity. Anyways, let me give a few shout outs here in the chat and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate everybody that's here today. Make sure that you give it a thumbs up. I usually have a much bigger audience like during the day when I do these streams, and then I did just kind of spring it on you guys, but I still appreciate everybody that's here right now. Rachel, Sean, Joker, thank you all for being here. You guys are great. Please hit that like button. Someone said, I thought the Raiders moved from Oakland. Yeah, they moved to Las Vegas. If healthcare workers get COVID, unvaccinated have to use their own time off. Vaccinated get paid COVID leave. Yeah, it's apartheid. It is just them separating society, and this will be permanent. This will be permanent. How do you go back from this? Think about it. We're in too deep. How do you go back to pre-COVID society? If now people are fully bought into, unvaccinated people, keep them over there. They're others. They're others. They don't belong. They're dangerous. They're the undesirables. Keep them separate from me. They're less than. They're not equal to me. So let's have them be in their own separate thing. Yeah, let's make them use their PTO. Let's give them special treatment. Where have we seen this before in history? Yeah, that's what I said. We're in a medical apartheid state, and we're just getting started. This is just the beginning. But they can't even get everything straight. This whole thing is a mess. It's a train wreck because they're rolling out booster shots. So now if you already got 2 shots, if you're fully vaccinated, now they're rolling out booster shots. So you're going to just keep shifting the goalpost out. Well, if you got your 2 main shots, but you haven't gotten the booster yet, you're technically not fully vaccinated. They've already admitted that the efficacy wanes over time. So you could have gotten the shots early on and have your little card, like your little obedience card. Yes, I did it. I did what you told me to do. Please let me go have fun and live a normal life. But even then, you still got to freaking wear a mask. That's why I said we're not going back. The only thing is you either stood your ground from the beginning or you're fully bought in and you're just like, well, I'll just go with the wind. I'll just go with whatever direction they take me in. That's why I said you could have fully complied and you haven't gotten the booster. Like, oh yeah, that was like 3 boosters ago. Well, you're going to need like 5 boosters now. It's going to be like a punch card. You're just going to have a COVID shot punch card. It's psychotic. And no matter how much you comply, no matter how much you inject yourself with a Pfizer product, you still have to wear a mask indoors. Still 2 years later. and pretending like it's normal. Let's just pretend like, well, humans have always worn masks during this time and we're just going to do it for, indefinitely. I'm sure there's no motive for them to try to control us. There's no other hidden agenda. This is the purest of intentions. And so if we have to wear masks from now until 2025, 2027, 2040, so be it. I'm going to comply because I'm a good person. There's people who think that. I just think it's time to wake up and recognize that they're playing you. They're just winging it. They're just making it up as they go along. If you don't have enough proof already, look at how many of these politicians, celebrities, people in media, you see them out and about, they're not wearing masks. They're out there traveling. They were doing all this stuff during the lockdown. We don't need to rehash it. All the hypocrisy when we were in this dangerous time, how come they didn't take it seriously? All that vaccine hesitancy when Trump was in office, if Donald Trump tells me to get it, I'm not taking it, said Kamala. Governor Cuomo at the time said, can you really trust the FDA? These are words out of his own mouth. What changed? Other than you got your puppet in the White House. What changed? So now you're pro-vax now? Now you're team Big Pharma now because Biden's in there, but when Trump was in there, I don't trust the FDA. Can you really trust the CDC? Well, Nancy Pelosi saying we can't mandate vaccines for people. That's just not what we can do. All this stuff has come out of their mouth. They're just making it up. And I said even yesterday, I said, I'm so tired. I'm so fatigued with talking about this topic. But it still bothers me every day. It still bothers me. I still hate this world that they've created now. And it's obviously worse in places like New York, where they're mandating injections, mandating face diapers, trying to force it on kids now. You can't live a normal life in New York unless you are a big pharma subject. And the unelected governor will make sure that you don't get to have a normal life without her permission. But if you're in Florida, you're good. Believe it or not, my home state, Colorado, has actually joined the side of sanity. Shout out to Jared Polis. I don't know what got into him. Some of that good Rocky Mountain spring water. Must not be drinking fluoride or something. I don't know what's going on, but he decided to end all of this madness. So I love it for the people of Colorado. I have a lot of friends and family out there that are very happy about this. This is great. Don't know what his motives were, but he still did the right thing. Whether if he did it for the wrong reasons or not, I guess is kind of more interesting than important. But Colorado has some freedom coming from a Democrat governor. I mean, that's kind of impressive because you saw the difference. You saw the stark contrast in 2020 between a Democrat governor and a Republican. A Democrat quickly seized power, locked down everything. You can't go anywhere. This store can be open. That one can't. You must wear a mask everywhere you go because I said so. We'll fine you. They just really quickly pounced on the opportunity to control their citizens. People probably didn't realize that there was actually a difference between how your state could be governed by a Democrat versus a Republican. Well, now you know. Now it's pretty clear. Now, and it reflects in the census how many people moved to Florida, how many people moved to Tennessee, people moving to Texas. What do those states have in common? People leaving California, leaving New York, leaving Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan, New Jersey. They don't want to be there for a laundry list of reasons, not just COVID. I mean, smash and grab robberies. Let me not even start tonight. Chuck said, did you hear about the threat to all schools getting shot up on today's date? Many went to virtual for safety. I did not hear about that. No, I've been mostly unplugged from the news today. But the big stories that did come across my timeline was the Kyrie Irving being invited back to play for the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know what the scientific analysis was that says, you know what, unvaccinated Kyrie Irving, it's now safe for you to come back in this facility, you super spreader. you're no longer a super spreader because we need to win a championship. And we're no longer going to pressure you to get the shot because, our season didn't go the way that we thought it would without you. Basically, we need you to come back. So it's okay if you're unvaccinated. I don't think they're trusting or following the science. Maybe they were just, maybe this was just some grandstanding on their part at the beginning when they said, he can't come into the facility. Look, we're going to show you guys just how committed we are to public health and safety. We're not letting Kyrie Irving come to our building to play basketball games, even though unvaccinated players from other teams were able to play in your building, whatever. See, it's never about the science, guys. It's about politics. It's about control. It's about fear mongering. It's about power grabs. It's about manipulating the minds of the masses. And for the large part, they've been pretty freaking effective with it. But yeah, that's one story, as well as the NFL postponing 3 games. One that was supposed to take place tomorrow between the Browns and the Raiders, now been moved to, I want to say Tuesday, because I don't know, reasons. I mean, they have 20 players on one team that tested positive for this thing, probably because they had to be forced to take tests. They're probably fully vaccinated, forced to take tests, and they found out, oh, snap, I just found out I'm sick today. I didn't know it, so I took the test. Now I can't play. It makes no sense at all. Might as well let them play. But then they'll lambast people who are not vaccinated, shame them out of the league, suspend them, and everything else. It's all stupid. So those are the 2 big stories that I heard about today. God has kept me safe and healthy, says Pam. Yes, it turns out God is going to guide your destiny better than man can. 10 times out of 10. Texas, Florida, and Tennessee are free states. You got that right. Super free. I mean, it reflects in the census. All you got to do is look at which states are gaining electoral votes now. Florida, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, the left can pretend like it's not happening. They can pretend like there's not a mass exodus from California and New York, or they could try to blame it on something else. They just want warmer weather. Well, California has pretty warm weather. People can't afford to live there unless you're Hollywood scum or some tech employee. I mean, it's hard to live in a state that has the highest gas tax, highest sales tax, highest income tax, highest property tax. Where's all that money going when you got this explosion of tent cities everywhere, smash and grab robberies, businesses leaving, people can't afford to live there, so they're going to Texas. Whatever, man. People want to pretend like it's not happening. Can't swallow their pride and admit that they got duped. Some people got duped. And a lot of people who bought into this COVID hook, line, and sinker, bought into the fear of it. I'm not saying the virus isn't real, but the fear of it, like, you're going to die. It's going to be a dark winter unless you get this shot. They're going to start to realize, and many of them have, but they cannot admit it. They will not admit it because they're afraid. They probably don't want to admit it on social media because it will look bad. They don't want to admit, like, I think we got played. I think they're just going to continue down this path and we're never going to go back to normal. We're always going to be fearing each other. They're going to keep this going because, again, the flu is still here, you guys. The flu still exists. Or does it? I'll let you guys decide that, right? But it hasn't gone anywhere, hasn't been eradicated. COVID is going to be the same thing. And imagine being more upset at your unvaccinated coworkers, unvaccinated friends, cousins, family members. Imagine being more angry at them for not complying with Biden's decree, not complying with the CDC and Fauci and all these people that are authoritarians. Imagine being mad that these people won't comply, more mad at them than you are about gain of function research. You want to know who's been completely lost in the sauce from the media, who's just had their brains completely engulfed in media lies, the people that are mad at the unvaccinated, the people that think the unvaccinated are the super spreaders. It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. But they don't care that they were messing around with diseases in a lab to make them more transmissible and more deadly. And it just so happens that the Wuhan lab leak theory was more than just a theory. Imagine not even caring about that. Remember when they're saying, oh, it came from a wet market. Somebody had bat soup. Not true. I'll just tell you guys. I tell you. So much insanity. So much insanity out there. So, yeah, anyway, I did say I was going to wrap this thing up. And I actually did not think I was going to do a live stream today. Certainly not this late. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually don't do streams this late, but I may have to try to squeeze them in every once in a while when I can. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Again, if you have not already, please give this a thumbs up. Please, it's the best way to help the content reach other people. Like this stream. Share it if you can, please. And yeah, God bless you all. Enjoy your weekend and just try to, keep a cool head during all of this insanity as the world keeps spinning. Keep your heads up. I'll catch you guys in the next stream.